the opportunities that's created out of it is actually getting the opportunity to get an object lesson in what we do and why we love what we do. So, it's going to, when we return to it, I'm sure we'll return to it with a increased level of enthusiasm, and we'll also have an idea or two, because we'll have to change the game up a little bit. We'll have to we'll have to diversify our activities. We'll have to increase our perception of opportunities. There's a lot that's going to change, but I'm sure we're all smart people, and we will create the opportunities that come from chaos, or avail of ourselves of those opportunities, and it's probably going to be good eventually, since we are who we are. And when I say we are who we are, is we are human beings, and in those of us who work in show business are a manifestation of that human entity, in that we want to be in groups. We want to socialize. We are pack animals. This is who we are, and eventually, when we get past all of this hoop-de-doo that we're going through right now, some of it created from ineptitude on certain people's part. I don't want to get into anything really political, but when we get past this, we will be back in force as social animals who indulge each other on a person-to-person basis and like to get together in groups. We live for that shit. We literally do.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not pessimistic about our business going away. Everybody who's in presentation technology, everybody who's in trade shows, everybody who's in show business, everybody who's in television, we're all on our asses right now.
Yeah.
The people that had a good backup plan are going to survive. The people that didn't have a good backup plan ain't. And that's just the way it is. I mean, if you start looking at the travel that we all take through life and back up enough to see the forest for the trees, you'll see that it goes like this. We have periods of chaos, we have periods of tragedy. If you're my age, my parents, I know, and in some of our cases our grandparents, lived and fought through World War. Both of my parents were combatants in a global struggle against fascism. This ain't shit compared to that.
Yeah, for real.
So
perspective.
I think we're going to be fine, and we are. And in the meantime, we are doing the things that we need to do. We are broadcasting to, however big our viewing audience is. If it's big enough, maybe we're missing some opportunities for sponsorship. I don't know. If it's small enough, we can transport them from one place to another in a couple of tour buses. Who knows? But we're going to be fine, and it's going to be different, but everything is always different, and we're doing this proof of concept. We're at my company. A lot of us are coming to work every day. The people who wanted to shelter in place had the option of doing so, and they're doing so. Warehouse and technical staff are busy keeping equipment maintained. We're doing some physical plant maintenance. We are, as all of us must, we are
making the best of it.
Yeah, we're making the best of it. We're being cognizant of doing a little bit of belt tightening that's necessary, but we're being careful not to tighten that belt around our own throats.
Absolutely.
So we're doing what we need to do to be battle ready when the dust settles, and when everything starts getting back to work, and get back to work it will. And a lot of people are speculating. I don't know. My crystal ball's a little on the fritz, but a lot of people are speculating that when it hits back, it's going to hit back with a vengeance, and we've got to be ready to be out of our minds swamped like that when it happens.
Well, it's interesting to see what's going to come next, maybe with the whole transition of going through these drive-in shows. I know our Nashville branch just did a Keith Urban halftime show, or a drive-through show kind of deal.
That got a lot of attention.
Yeah, it did, and I'm really interested to see, what the lighting side and basically our whole industry is going to restructure itself with more of those shows in the near future.
Well, that's one of the little bright spots, really. Those of us who have truck and trailer configured mobiles are fortunate enough to where our phones have been ringing off the hook. This is a broadly embraced concept. We've been writing quotes like "madness in the spring" about exactly that sort of thing. Some of them have hit, some of them are not. We've had things go to contract. We had a couple of shows this last weekend, which is
Nice.
the thing that's most remarkable about that is that we consider that remarkable. But that's the way it is. It's going to be a little bit different, and that's going to be one of the things that's going to transition us over.
Yeah.
That, this, and whatever else we can think of, and it will arise out of a need. I mean, you can't just wave a magic wand and say we're all going to do this. People are either going to be interested or they're not. But I for one, I'm long enough in the tooth that I actually remember when drive-in movies were popular, and I miss them damn things. Man.
They're fun.
They're cool.
They're absolutely
they're a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a little trickier setting up in a drive-in with some of we had Brian Adaraman here today speaking about somebody asking him to help with one of those, and he started to tell him, well, what about power distribution, stage, so on, stuff that the drive-in doesn't have naturally, and the dollar signs started racking up pretty rapidly for the promoter asking. And I think they have to work on some of those immediate problems. But there's been other countries like Denmark who are fully involved in that, using their old drive-ins for this purpose, and it's gone pretty well from what we can tell. So fingers crossed that that's happening.
Well, the death of drive-ins arose out of the fact that in many parts of continental North America they were a seasonal thing. You're not gonna go to a drive-in movie in January in the Chicagoland area.
Good point.
And they're incredibly real estate intensive in a lot of markets where real estate has become expensive, and that was the demise of drive-in theaters. But as we've established, things change. There's a renewed interest.
Yeah.
And they morph themselves into something else anyway. There's a drive-in in Oakland that's now a full-time flea market because that was what they were able to do well.
Yeah.
So the whole thing has changed. The whole topic here is we have to change as a matter of course, as a matter of being alive. Change is inevitable, and a little bit of change is being thrust upon us.
Yes, definitely thrust upon us. So I know. So basically, to recap, you came up in the audio side after trying your chops as a musician. And I know you mixed for quite a few bands, a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
You made your way to where you have, well, I know for one point, the company you sold, you had the huge stock of projectors. You ended up...
We had the AVTS, things are a little bit compressed in the history of technology because things move so fast, but we had a whole passel mess of light valve video projectors, and that was the shit back then, and that was the top line light engine. I mean, several years ago, I damn close to shed a tear as we were pushing triple light valve turbos into the solid electronic waste disposal.
Oh, no.
Just thinking, it's going out the door as garbage. What was $5 million worth of projectors.
Wow. Yeah,
that developed about as much brightness as something that can come in a box this big now.
How the times have changed, for sure.
How the times have changed.
Well, I know your company, LSV, is a premier provider of some of the top level quality LED walls.
Yeah.
Video devices. What is the elevator pitch when a client comes to you, and how do you determine what type of package you're going to use? How does that work?
I don't really rely on an elevator pitch. I don't really need it. We're pretty well known in the business, and the people that seek us out are past that bit. I mean, there's times when you're at when you're at a Thanksgiving table or a Seder table or something like that, and you have to explain to a relative what you do, that's the time for the elevator pitch, and that's what you're doing at that point. But we were fortunate to be around at a time of big changes in technology. Avesco sent when we were in the early days of AVTS, Avesco sent a StarVision truck over to the United States, which we assisted in managing, and that was discharge tube technology, English electric valve StarVision, and that put us in the outdoor screens business at a time when there were 3 companies.
Date that.
Counting us doing
Give or
that.
take, when was this?
Oh shoot, that was mid '80s.
Wow.
And so we stayed involved in that business, and and it was a very expensive business to be in, and it just so happens that at a point where other companies were vested in discharge tube and CRT cell outdoor screenage technology, we are positioned in a way to quickly maximize diode-based video display. We were actually the first company in North America to rent diode-based video screens.
Wow. Pioneer.
It's boasting rights, but like all boasting rights, that and $5 will get you on a BART train. The high output blue was stabilized and made into a product, and we realized quickly that we could make video screens out of LEDs, and away we went. So we had some good partnerships early on, and we were in that business, and in the first with LEDs. So that's great. That worked out. It was prohibitively expensive for a very, very long time, and that put us in a unique little niche where we would provide gear and services to production companies that couldn't afford it. The price of LED video display has dropped a little bit. It's full of hazards. It's full of pitfalls. There's about I don't know what it is now since all this economic fallout has occurred. There were at one point 1,000 companies in Asia that were making some kind of LED video display technology, and maybe 20 to 24 of them were worth mentioning from a quality standpoint. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of opportunity for bad pitfalls, and a lot of companies have made those bad pitfalls, and so now that there's a lot of cheap Chinese junk out in the market, little mom and pop lighting shops that bought 100 panels and tried to make a go of it, and realized that they couldn't for one reason or another. But these are market changes. They happen, and we've got to roll with them.
How do you keep with the LA company that's like doing the $50 a panel kind of thing? It's just like you're not getting the quality, but that's what people want, is to like cut a corner with their cost. It's
well, we
so
know,
bizarre.
Let's run the numbers. If you're going to properly maintain your gear and send it out on a show, it costs you $35 to $40 to QC each panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, it's going to look like it.
Yeah, you're going to
in short order
in an inferior product. Absolutely. I've noticed.
And if you're going out in the marketplace and sullying and beshitting yourself, it's going to look like it after a while there too. So I mean, you can't. There are hard economic realities, and if your P&L and your balance sheet aren't making any sense, then your business is not making any sense, and your days are numbered.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Yeah, and we've seen that happen kind of over and over. I know initially the Chinese like you said, there was a lot of providers and not a lot of quality. And they were very aggressive in selling their product, getting their product out. Yeah, I mean, I would routinely sort this stuff out of my email.
Yeah.
People trying to come in and be friends on Facebook and get into the pages and immediately hit you with these hard sells on their LED and their LEDs. And so I guess the secret for you was to figure out the right packages to get, because your stuff's always beautiful.
We
Top of the line.
evolved into a different level. I mean, we became more involved in designing the product. We would specify. We had set specifications. We would specify components, lamps, and chipsets. We would set target goals. You know, we're not accepting anything below this brightness level. We're not accepting anything below this refresh rate. We have a model by how long this component needs to last. You know, anything less than 100,000 hour half-life is probably not going to be a good model. But you know, we would either modify existing chassis. We would design our own. We would design our own touring rigs. We would, just basically create a product. Select an OEM manufacturer to do final assembly and burn tests. Import it, obtain the North American and European certifications, throw our name on it, market it. It's not to disparage Chinese products. There are some companies in China that are making superb product. Like I said, that 20 to 24 companies.
Yeah.
But still in all, you've got to proceed very carefully, and it's easier to do that when you kind of know what you're doing. And it's hard to stay on top of knowing what you're doing because a lot of things change. Situations change. You can't really rest on I'm the do-all, know-all, everything like that. It's a good way to have somebody come along and eat your lunch for you.
Yeah, there's one thing when we need to spec out a job and we want the best, we call you. It really is that simple for us. We have learned the hard way and messed around with some smaller companies that didn't quite have the quality control and the basically the heart to come and bring the best to the show.
Well, it's it's a business that quickly separates the men from the boys. And we've all. Look behind us. We've all made a tremendous commitment in presentation technology. Them some spendy speakers right there, man.
There are.
Yeah.
And that's really what you need to do.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're the people I know who are in it because they're fascinated and enthralled with the technology and want to make it better. I just read a pretty good interview with Michael Tate, a very wealthy man, Tate Towers, where he said, "It was never about the money. I just wanted to build cool stuff."
It's a great line.
He's built some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, he's a pretty accomplished guy.
Yeah.
And that logic is good. Looks like we're running a little long. Pat is saying hi to you, John. Pat O'Doul.
Pat O'Doul says, "Hey, John," and I'll say, "Hey, Pat."
Pat, how you doing? Thanks for checking in with us. We are, as usual, because that's what we do, is run long. John could sit here and we could listen to him talk all damn night. We really appreciate him being here. John, again, is one of the reasons we get to do this is because he is gracious enough to loan us the equipment. So I'd like to send a shout out to the folks at Large Screen Video, of course, John. John, and your managing partner with, can you tell me?
Cameron Brown is a partner in the company. Cameron is a very capable man who was a Lucasfilm alumnus when he came to us, and
great pedigree.
He's just a real smart guy. I've heard him compared to MacGyver. It's an apt comparison, and he's got some talents that I certainly don't have. A great technical mind. He's our chief technology officer, and you can tell somebody to go to hell in a way that makes them look forward to the trip. So that's in and of itself.
That is an absolute
So,
special talent for sure. Well, we want to thank you, John, for your kindness, your generosity to let us make this happen. We can't go without a mention that Sound Image Productions, my brother George Edwards, their general manager, allows us this space and the equipment to do this show as well as our CEO, the big dog, Dave Shadone of Southern California Sound Image, and all of the Sound Image incarnations is Dave Shadone. We want to thank you, Dave, for allowing us this place and to give us this ability to really flex our chops and express ourselves through this medium. We got a bunch of people. John's not wrong. This is without being mushy. It's kind of a love letter to our friends. It's like, hey, we're doing this. We miss you. We wish we could be with you. So thank you, Dave Shadone. And also our friends over at Slow Fiber. They provide us our masks. Believe it or not, we do the social distancing, the mask stuff. So thank you, Slow Fiber, for providing us the masks. They make a great product. What do you think, John?
After things get back to normal, this is really going to come in handy in an armed robbery.
Yeah, I'll be good to go. I'll have that wired. Thank you, Slow Fiber, and the people at slowfiber.com. Reach out to them if you need something. Otherwise, we really appreciate you coming out tonight, John. Thank you to our studio audience. That's Joe Victoria and John Fukushima.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, two literally. You've seen them on the show before. They're the big dogs in the game. If you want your concert filmed properly, you call these guys for sure. And also the guys behind the camera. Thank you to Leaf Osborne, our director, camera operator, and Mike Brown, our audio guy. He's a badass, and without him, we couldn't get it done. It's kind of that simple. And again, for Kyle Thomas stepping in. Kyle, thanks, man.
Thank you.
I really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. And thanks for what you're doing with the kids, getting them up on their chops with the S6L and the Pro Tools. It's an intricate system that it involves a lot of attention and detail. So thank you for that.
Looky there. Greetings from the Netherlands.
Oh, we reach is kind of far. We get across the world, and it's kind of fun. That's what the Backstage Pass.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, Tiziana. It must be very, very late there.
Yes, we definitely appreciate the audience. We appreciate you guys spending your time with us. We know there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices out there, a lot of people doing different things, and you to come to us feels very special. Upcoming this next Thursday, we've got Brian Autorama. He's the stage manager, the monitor guy for Michael Fronte and Spearhead. He's got an interesting story about touring in Africa. I can't wait to talk to him about it. That's not something a lot of us get to do, regardless of how far and wide we tour. We usually don't hit Africa. So,
and if you haven't seen Michael Fronte and Spearhead,
oh man,
do it.
Yeah,
That's the thing. They're one hell of a live act, and great band. We appreciate you coming in tonight. We will hopefully see you next week. And until then, thank you very much. This is Beyond the Backstage Pass. Thank you, John.
Thanks, man.
All right, brother.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. It's always
Appreciate
good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
All right.